Now that I've done 2 questions with you, I am going to give you some time to fill out the tables on your own. I will go ahead and read number 2 to you. The graph shows the area of a parking lot for community housing and the number of parking spaces it can hold. Express the relationship with an equation. I want you to go ahead and find if the area is 2 based on this graph, how many parking spaces would there be? If I find 2 for an area on my graph, go straight up until I reach a data point, and straight over I landed at 100. I want you to go ahead and figure out how many parking spaces there would be for an area of 6 square kilometers. Finding 6 square kilometers on my graph, going up and then straight over results in 300 parking spaces. Go ahead and figure out how many parking spaces you would have for an area of 10 square kilometers. I solved it and got 500 by going straight up from the 10 and straight over resulted in 500. All right, now I'm ready to look at the process. Going from the left side of my table to the right side of my table, are our numbers getting bigger or are they getting smaller? They're getting bigger, so that means, are we going to multiply or are we going to divide? Multiplying is correct. I'm going to start with 2, and I know I have to multiply by a number to equal 100. Can do the same with 6. 6 times a number should give me 300. And lastly, I have 10 times a number will give me 500. Let's go ahead and use inverse operations to figure out what that number would be. The inverse or opposite of multiplication is what? Opposite of multiplication is division. Let's use division to help us solve this. I'm going to go ahead and write 100 divided by 2 equals, let's go ahead and solve that. And turn my calculator back on. So I have 100 divided by 2 equals 50. Let's plug 50 into our blanks and double check to make sure they work. So 2 times 50 equals 100. That's correct. What number am I now going to put in this blank? Oh, we have to do the same process, so I'm going to write 50 again. Let's plug it into our calculator to see if it is correct. 6 times 50 equals 300. What number will I now put in this last blank? Once again, that number is 50. We have to use the same process. Let's plug it into our calculator to see if it is correct. 10 times 50, 500 is correct. We're ready to write our equation. Remember, we're going to use the first letter in each of our words. So I'm going to use A for area and P for parking spaces. So if I start with my area, which is 2, and my process says to multiply by 50, that will equal my parking spaces. Remember, you can also flip it and write it the other way. Parking spaces is equal to our area times 50. We have now finished number 2.